Hey yo, what's fucking poppin'? It's your boy, Godified. I want to bring you guys something unique that I feel that the community is needed. More of a voice in a way. Kind of like a short state of the game podcast type ordeal. And I want to cover a few things that I think would help Outriders out in the long run. And basing it off of certain things I've seen on like Reddit, and, from actually getting with my community while streaming on Twitch, we kind of discussed certain things. And a lot of the stuff we've discussed on the stream, I'd like to kind of touch base on. Kind of throw it in the public's eye and see what people think. Because, let's be real, man. This game has potential, but it doesn't seem like the developers are listening to us. Maybe they're not listening to us because they don't want to read it. But let's go ahead and dive into this. Let me go ahead and start narrowing some shit down. And let's get this fucking shit popping. Alright. So, one of the major things that a lot of people are having issues with is the gear in this game. As okay, so there's a lot of issues in Outriders where certain players are just, they don't know where to farm for items, and the development team seems to keep throwing it in the public's face that we don't know what we're doing or what we're talking about, and we don't understand the drop rates. We don't understand how drops in this game work. Let's start out by saying I don't know what fucking brilliant mind thought that one up, because none of us are actually programmers in this game. We did not dive into this game, create each individual loot pool for each individual class of gear, and then also go into the game and program the loot, like the random loot drop percentages. We didn't create that. We didn't go into each individual enemy and program certain items to drop. So of course, unless we were able to I'm trying to think of the best way. I don't want to sound too technical because I know there's a lot of people that'll probably watch this video and they won't have the understanding of like a lot of technical terms. So basically, there's not a lot of there's nobody that's gone in and reverse engineered the game, at least from my understanding. So there's no way for us to actually understand how drops work. Let's just be honest there. How are we supposed to know and understand how the drops work? What items drop from what enemies? What level bases drop what gear? If we are not given any way to actually see it. There's nothing. There's no indicators. There's no nothing. So I wanted to give some examples of what we've talked about on stream that could be a potential fix to this. One of which would be right here under guides. You do have the items and resources and such where you can go here. It shows you all the stuff like the loot, all this stuff, resources, mods, weapon, all of it's right here. You can see it, right? But when you go under things like loot, look at this. Like, look at it. It's very fucking vague. Very vague. Okay, you go under. No, I mean, none of it really matters. If you go under enemies, for instance, there's nothing in here that goes over the gear. Even if you were to think on a general basis, there's nothing in here that tells us that. So maybe adding something into the game guide would actually be more resourceful to let people know. Just kind of saying that would be something that could help people understand, like, where the drops, breaking down the drop percentages. That way people can have a way of going in and looking and finding how things are broke down on their own so they can interpret it. Okay, that could have been something added in the beginning of the game so people understood. Alright, then you have, let's go into here for instance. Okay, let's go here. We're in the journal. Okay, we have an enemy section. Nowhere in these things at all does it tell you of a potential drop from these enemies. Nothing. There is nothing. There are some games, excuse me, there are some games where when you go and you look at, like, enemies, sometimes the journal or, like, said example of what we're looking at right now would actually display some kind of, like, potential loot pool. Like, this enemy has a high potential of dropping this. This enemy has high potential of dropping that. None of that. Like, that doesn't exist here. Okay? So that's another thing. Another thing that we could do, for instance, you come in here, right? And say that you're ready to run some expeditions. Okay? You can look, like right here, Stargrave. No signal. Alright. So that gives us an option of Chemplant, Archways of Enoch, Time-Worn Spire, Scorched Lands, or Eye of the Storm. Alright, so we got a pretty good, we got a pretty good idea of what's going on. But when we click on Archways of Enoch, we get told this. Legendary 25% for reaching gold, okay? Which is the 4 times bonus, which means from the way that this is explained, the 4 boxes that you're supposed to get of this each have an individual chance of 25% chance to drop a legendary item and 75% chance to drop an epic. This means each time you open one of the 4 boxes in the beginning, you have a 25% chance that a legendary will drop, and whatever else drops out of that box or out of the drop pod is essentially loot that was dropped throughout the entire mission, the entire expedition. So you're getting all of that loot accumulative. Okay, so if you do happen to get like 4 legendaries, that's because at one point you killed something that on the map dropped it. Okay, and of course, if you do fail the mission, okay, you do get the box in the spawn when you respawn at the beginning, and that loot will be from what you killed potentially in the expedition while you were out there. But what this doesn't tell you is what you can farm in here. There's nothing here. You have these CTs down here where you're tier, like, per se, tier 15, right? The enemy and loot level are 50. Awesome. What else? Like, the devs just recently went over telling us that, like, for the Trickster, for instance, the Ugake Cowl drops only from level 48 enemies and up. That would reference us to tier 13 or higher, right? Because tier 13 sets the item level to 48, which would drop. So that means you can only have a chance at getting the Ugake Cowl from tier 13, 14, or 15, which is fine. A lot of people can easily backtrack run a 13. But nowhere does it say this. Nowhere does it say this. Okay? Nowhere. Now, an implementation that would be nice is when you're selecting your tier, right? We'll go down to like, we'll start at 13. Why not have a list on the side in this blank open fucking area right here? Alright? That tells you, for the current class that you are on, what gear can potentially drop from this mission. Okay? What a lot of people don't take into consideration on this is everything that you do is supposed to be class specific, which means this game recognizes you when you're on a certain in particular class. And each individual class has 3 legendary sets. 3. Which breaks down into 12 items. Okay? And if you're sitting on a map like this that has all these little nodes, okay, which the way that the division did it is you can see these icons, but certain areas would have like a chest or legs or a gun, something in particular to indicate what kind of weapon would have a higher drop chance in that region or in that area. We don't have any indication at all what drops where. Again, please enlighten me how I'm supposed to tell people that are watching me, like subs and fucking and followers and so forth, when they ask me, hey, do you know where this drops from? No, nobody does. Nobody knows where any of this stuff drops from, except for the developers. And they keep telling us that we are stupid and we don't understand. You're right. We can't read your fucking mind. Okay, but let's get back into this. At 12 items per, and you have, what is that? 3, 4, 5. You have 5 options up. Okay, 5 options. And these options, you have to pay drop pod resources for. Eye of the Storm is 40k, right? And then you got Scorched Lands, 3,200. One's right here, like Coliseum, I believe, is like 100. Not even. Like, it's stupid. The farther you get out of the storm, the cheaper it costs. Okay? Now, but what benefit do you get at all for running these? Nothing. There's no benefit. There's no benefit towards paying to go in there and do it. There's no incentive. When we first started running expeditions, me and the people that I play with, what was the point? We used to look at it all the time, and even one of my buddies, every time we fucking ran expeditions, he'd be like, yo, what is the point of this? Why is it charging me? Like, do we get higher drop chances? Let's click on it. No, we don't. We don't have any higher drop chances just because it costs us to go in there. There's nothing there. There is nothing there. So why pay? Why are we paying? What's the point of paying to go there? We're not getting a higher drop chance, right? But again, if you look at it, they're all vague. Everything's vague. It just tells you numbers. It tells you numbers, and it uses simplistic fucking numbers as percentages to where the player would look at it and misinterpret the actual values. Okay, and that's where the illusion for this comes into play. All right, you have again 25%, 75%, and that's on the 4 times box. Nowhere in this, other than bonus reward, that's all that's there. Nothing in this says the drop percentage for every item is this after said box. It does not tell you that all the items that drop from enemies that you kill throughout the entire expedition are then rounded up into a box and dispersed at the end of the expedition. Okay, people just think open box, get loot. That's all they want to do. They want to get in there, they want to open the box and get the loot. That's it. Not everybody who plays this game is a fucking mathematician. Not everybody who plays this game is a programmer who's able to go in and understand how the variables work and how the RAND code is actually fucking dispersing random generated numerics out of random pools that are created in the code for specific loot variables. I mean, obviously they have loot pools for individual items. If they didn't, then we would see a lot more items more frequently. But of course, everything is set into its own pool, and the way that things are dispersed are using a RAND code, which RAND would stand for random. And what this does is it grabs from whatever the given pools of items are, and it will randomly pull string variables from this, which would then cycle out whatever piece of gear it randomly pulls. Basic programmers, when I went through basic C++ and basic C#, one of the things that they taught us during the basics was how to random generate numbers on execution by simply just typing in certain things. Like on C++, for instance, it would open up a command box, and you would have, your custom header text if you wanted to, or you can just skip that completely. But they would have you do things to where, for my example, I would put text, and it would say, press Y to random generate number, and hit enter. So you would type Y, hit enter, and the command box would then pop up a random number given between a set amount of variables. So you can set these variables between, if they were numeric, you can set it from between 1 and 100. And with programming, you can actually have each individual item set as a numeric. So when you're randomly generating a certain item, it would randomly cycle through each one of said items, so that you guys understand what I'm referring to. So if you were to do, per se, which of course this is not going to be real actual programming, we're going to go pseudo and more recipe based, you would have your code, per se, rand generate item, and then you'd have brackets, and in the brackets you would put in like 1-100 per se, just so it would go from item 1 to 100. Alright, and then of course you would put the rest of your code in for execution, like on enter, blah blah blah. So then when you push enter, you're generating a random number every single time that you hit enter between 1 and 100. Okay? These numbers of 1 and 100 would then be an item where when the drop pod opens up, you're now having a system of constant taps of enter. Okay? For each item that comes out, they're tapping enter, disperse, enter, disperse, enter, disperse, enter, disperse. And each one of those items is then going to be randomly spit out between 1 and 100. Okay? So that means somewhere in the system, they have a loot pool that pulls rarities between 1 and 100 or higher, depending on what they have as the sets and everything. Okay, not including items that would have different stats. But see, here's where this comes into play. Everything from white gear to purple gear, right, can roll with, let's just say, right here. Do I have a piece of purple gear? I do, right here. So, firepower, cooldown, reduction, status power, right? This one, firepower, status power, cooldown. I don't have any more, or I would show, but anybody who's watching this, anybody who's played the game, will know that these can be completely different variables. And the mods on the bottom can be completely different variables. But the legendaries are always static. That means every one of these legendaries, which if we go into the accolades, okay, and we go into item management, and we go to outfit collector, legendary outfits. There are 95 unique legendary outfits in this game. That is 95 individual pieces of gear that equal out to the 3 set pieces per character. Okay. With that being said, that means they are using a rand generator for legendaries alone that cycles between a 1 and 95. There are no different variables that can be used and utilized within the actual gear piece itself. This means that anytime you roll a legendary, you have a 1 in 95 chance each time that legendary is popped that it's going to be a gear piece. Now, there's also 46 unique legendary weapons. That's individual. Now, you throw those into the pool, and now you have a larger legendary pool. Okay, obviously. So, now they're going to, like, I'm not going to sit here and fucking do the math in my head. You'll have like around 130, 140. Alright, roughly. So now your item pool is like roughly a 1 to 140-ish. Okay, just estimating. So, in that item you're looking for, if you're looking for a death shield, or if you're looking for an Inferno Seed, you have a 1 and 140 chance of this item dropping. Ish. I say ish because, again, there's going to be somebody in the comments going to be like, oh, your math is terrible, blah, 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 blah. Fuck off. I don't care. My point is still going to be valid regardless of the actual math statistics. Okay? That's how this would work. But it isn't. There's more behind the rand than actually we knew. a lot of people have found the meme of the cannonball set. Cannonballs drop way more than anything else. Even in modded lobbies that we host, we have a fucking meme. We even had at one point, I even made an emote for my chat of cannonballs just as a meme because of how much cannonball drops rather than actual items people can use. So, I mean, what I'm trying to get at here, now that I've broken everything down, is the loot system's so scattered, but it points out that there are loot pools. Okay? And with there being loot pools and with us also being able to target our own class, then when you're going in here and you're going into, per se, an Archways of Enoch, there should be a list off to the side over here every time you're on a different character that displays what items can drop and their percentile. That way, when you come on and you see missions, you can literally look and be like, huh, so if I go run this today, I have a high shotgun percent chance. Or I have a high chance at getting that Borealis helmet or that seismic helmet. You know, you have the understanding of where you want to go farm, and that way people would be more in tune and more refreshed to know where they need to go to find the pieces of gear that they need for their builds. But that's another topic I want to go into. So now that we've discussed that, I want to go into build diversity. Build diversity. I'm pretty sure there are clips on my Twitch where people have clipped me, where I go on little rants about this because it's funny to me. You go on YouTube, and these content creators, I'm not going to knock anyone's hustle by any means. Do what you got to do, homie. If regurgitating the same bullshit over and over again for clicks is what you want to do, fucking be my guest. That's not how I like to fucking treat our public and our fucking community in this game. So, that's not my thing. But every video you watch is the exact same build, regurgitated over and over and over again. For what? For what? To show you the meta? And then they caption it, it's the best build in the game. In the game. It's the best. Woo. We have min-maxed it to the T. No, homie, you changed one skill in the skill tree from the last 40 other people that play the exact same build. Alright? It's all the same. There is one build. One build. It's not the best. It's the only build. That's it. Stop fucking clickbaiting these fucking titles and saying, oh, come look at my best build in the game. It's not the best build in the game. It's the only one. It's the only one anybody wants to use because it's the only build that can actually clear the time limits. If people build certain ways towards tankiness, if people build towards support, if people try to build any other way other than a glass cannon, their times will not meet unless they are skilled enough to do so. And even then, skill does not matter because once you hit CT15, if you're running a support build, you are losing so much damage that your clear times will never succeed. you will never succeed. Except on a fucking support pyro. And that's because the support pyro can actually buff its own damage with its skills. That's it. Majority of other things, like if you were going to run the Technomancer, and you were going to go with a demo build on the bottom tree, you would not clear any of the content anywhere as fast as you would if you were running the top Blight build. And that's it. That's meta. That's your meta. We get it. Okay, we get it. We don't need YouTube flooded with 400 billion fucking Blight round videos showcasing that this is the best build here. Check mine out. I have big PP syndrome. We don't need that. All it took was like 2 people, 2 creators to make it, and everybody fucking ran with it. That's it. That's all it took. 2 creators, everyone ran with it. And there's even creators out there that keep fucking regurgitating the same video. The same video. Guys, look. I tweaked it. I did this. I tweaked it again. No, you didn't. You didn't tweak anything. Literally, go watch the fucking video before and after. It's the same thing. The only thing you may have done, is added a new gun. That's it. Oh, look at my new gun. My new gun is so good. No, it's not. It's not. It's the fucking skills. Okay? So let's get that out of the way. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Because that alone just proves how fucking garbage the content creators of this game can be. Now, there are some content creators for this game that are really good. Really good. And I 100% support them. And those are the ones actively trying to shit on this game. And I don't mean shit on this game in a negative way. I mean pointing out every fucking flaw this game has. Because after a while, once the flaws are pushed out, which they have been over and over and over again, the development team refuses to acknowledge anything but the positives. And the only people pushing positives are the larger content creators with a larger fan base, because they know that their fan base and their constant clicks and their constant regurgitated bullshit is going to outweigh majority of the lower tier content creators. And then the developers are not going to go look at a fucking lower tier content creator like myself, or other higher tier content creators that are lower than the ones that have like 1 million subs. They're going to go right towards the ones with 1 million subs and be like, hey, see, look, they love this game. They have 1 million subscribers. They're constantly feeding out, positivity. Okay. We don't have any problems. We're just going to keep it that way. So the ones that are being more verbal and more vocal are being harassed on sites like Reddit, per se. And they're being harassed for being verbal and being vocal about the issues, because some people don't see there being any kind of an issue because they either A, play the game alone, and they like playing it alone. When there's people here who enjoy actually playing this game with friends and co-op and can't. That's a whole other ball game that I've covered a while back, and I'm not diving back into that the networking variant of the rabbit hole, because that's not happening. Not diving into that again. I've done it twice. If fucking nobody wants to understand it, that's fine. You had the open opportunity. You can still go back and fucking watch it. But the content creators of this game are fucking garbage. They are fucking garbage. If you're not going to actively try and stand up for the community in this game, and you're not going to sit here and try to point out the fucking flaws and use your actual following for something to actually help benefit the game, or try using when you got your early releases of the game, obviously the developers listen to your responses. But if you're not going to use said fucking following, and you're not going to use that as any kind of leverage to be like, yo, look, man, you know, you gave me this as an early access. I am one of your content creators. I'm in your Discord known as a content creator. Listen to what I have to say. Like, this is what the community wants. If you're not going to stand up for the community, then what the fuck kind of content creator are you? All you're there for is the fucking views and the cash out at the end. That's it. That's all you want is the fucking cash out from how many clicks and how many fucking views you get. And that's disgusting. So that's another thing that needs to end, is the bullshit fucking content creators in this game. Stop watching videos of people who only hype this game up. This game has potential. It's had potential. But at the same time, it's not going to go anywhere if people keep blowing smoke up the fucking developer's ass. But let's move on to the last thing I want to fucking discuss on this game. And the last thing I want to discuss is more personal. And I'm going to aim this at all the streamers. The streamers who do carries on this game. I just started streaming as far as Outriders. And me and a buddy, we actively do carries for the community every other day, roughly. I mean, he works, so if he's not able to, we'll usually let people know in, like, the Discord, per se, what's going on. And usually we'll push it to, you know, another day, blah, blah, blah. But for the majority, we do stream every other day doing Outriders. And I stream variety. So I'm constantly playing other games. But I drop what I do for the community every other day to run between, I don't know, around 5:30 Eastern, 5 o'clock Eastern PM to roughly around maybe 9, 10, sometimes 11 o'clock Eastern. And we set up a queue. We let the queue run. People come in, they join. We run them through fucking Eye of the Storm. And the kicker behind this whole thing is we run with a trainer active. Okay? We run with a trainer and we increase the drop rates. And we've been seen as part of the modding community, which I'm not denying being part of the modding community. That's fine. I'm not denying it. I see people trying to post clips. Like, they try to clip me and put the captions as things like, see, cheaters caught red-handed. Nobody's denying it. Like, we don't deny it. I literally put it in my titles when I start my streams for it. Like, I'm not fucking denying it. But at the end of the day, a lot of you streamers and a lot of you viewers that come into my stream and full-blown harass me and the community because of what we're doing, like, that's garbage, bro. Y'all don't even understand at all what we do it for. Like, the first thing you do is see mod, and you just instantly jump to the ideal that we're trying to ruin the community because the other side of the modding community is out there charging people upwards of $300 for bullshit. We're not doing that. Like, that's not what we do. When I first seen the modding community charging Outriders people, I was fucking pissed. I was fucking pissed. This community has been shit on by the developers like a fucking redheaded stepchild in an abusive alcoholic family. And just constantly beaten by the fucking developers and the fucking community management that we don't even know what the fuck's going on. We start attacking our own fucking people. And now we have to worry about the assholes of the community who are trying to charge people for certain things, charging you for fucking higher drop rate chances, and charging you for just things in general that make no fucking sense at all. And a lot of them are just scamming you. You send in the payment, they don't give you shit. Or, you ask, oh, can you raise my level, please? I want my level higher than what it is. They set your level to like 40,000. You go all giddy and shit like, oh, look at me, I'm 40,000. Until you go into the, Tiago. And he shows you, and he has an item in the store that's like 80,000 item level. And the moment you hover over it, the game crashes. Why? Because those variables are too fucking high for the game to recognize. They're not meant to be in the game at all. And they don't care. You already paid them like $60 to do so. So that's your own disclaimer. We don't do that bullshit. We don't do that shit at all. We open up the lobby, we open up the queue, and anybody who wants to run with us is free to fucking run with us. We are not stealing views from legitimate people. Okay? We are not stealing anything. People have their own free mind to come and chill with us if they want. I average, when we're running these streams, I average around 30 to 40 viewers. And I'm a low-time fucking person. I don't have a big name in the community. I've literally had a big, one of the bigger streamers, more known Outrider streamers, literally come into my chat and fucking go off on me. And then when I tried to approach them on Twitter, they had the nerve to try to attack me about my followers and say because I have such a low following, I must be trash. Dude, come on, man. This is a top streamer on Twitch running for fucking partner. And they're attacking me for trying to help the community and make it to where the community's not getting scammed and to make it where the community's not paying people or anything like that in order to get higher drop rate chances. Like something so simple. And these people who have over 2,000 plus, 4,000 plus following are sitting in my DMs on Twitter basically calling me trash because I don't have a following. Or they're hopping in my fucking Twitch chat with my community and they're sitting there calling me trash, and my community is sitting there laughing at these people. Like, come on, man. I'm an adult, bro. I am a grown-ass man. Like, I'm not here for all the bullshit. The moment I seen that this community was being fucked over by the people in the community because they seen an eye of people who want gear, and they're not getting gear because of how the loot drops are. They seen that and they started to prey on the community who are starting to give up and with promise of higher loot chances for an actual cash amount. And all they're doing is pushing one button and going live with the game on PC, modding it, and then sending you an invite. That's it. They're charging you upwards of $60 for using something that probably wasn't even made by them. So, no, I don't stand for that. So, we do it for free. The only thing that we do that's even remotely has a price to it is if we're sitting there bullshitting and somebody subs to the channel. If you sub to the channel, that's a paid subscription. So when me and my buddy talked about it, I feel like I'm obligated to give you something for doing so. You know, if you're going to do that, I feel like I have to do something for you. I don't feel like I'm the best content creator, so when I get a sub, maybe I'm just humble, but I feel like I don't deserve it. So we offer the mods that we have that we're able to give and disperse, which is we can max out skill trees, full skill trees. We offer that. If you want your level fucking raised, we can move your level up to like per se 45. Okay? And we do only 45 because it's the only variable we've really sat back and tested that hasn't had any like negative repercussions in the game. That's it. So, and when I say negative repercussions, I mean the only number variable as far as level that we've been able to test with that hasn't had consistent crashes when getting different kinds of gear. We're literally just here trying to help the community. If people want mods as far as like, oh, we want this modded weapon that does over 1,000,000 damage, I tell them no, we don't offer it. Why don't we offer it? Because I feel like that ruins the game. That ruins the community. If I'm helping these people with getting loot drops, I don't see any problem with it. What I'm doing in one run when we have 20 legendaries just pop out the box, that's like equivalent to possibly 30 runs by a legitimate fucking person streaming who's doing carries. That one box is equivalent to that person getting 30 carries. And some of these streamers don't even do upwards of 30 to 40 carries a day. Alright? So, what we're doing is we're trying to help the community. That's all we're trying to do. We're not trying to maliciously hurt it. I've had the arguments of people trying to say, well, you're part of the problem. You're modding. No, that's not even it. Would you prefer somebody who wants to mod and who's looking towards that option to pay and get fucked? Or would you prefer to see the community not pay and actually get it given to them? If they want it, we can't tell anybody what they can and can't do. If they're going to do it and they have their mind set to it, they're going to do it. So you coming at me because of what I offer and what me and my buddy offer, I mean, it's ignorant. Why come at us? We're just giving to the other portion of the community who's had enough. You have two different spectrums of the Outriders community. You have those who really enjoy the shit drop rates and they find it fun. They're masochistic. They like it. It's them. And that's fine. People enjoy that kind of thing. But then you have some who are grown-ass adults. They're tired. They come home from work and they just... You know, I've had so many people come into the stream and thank me and my buddy for doing what we do to help the community. And to some of you, that might not seem genuine, but to me, it does. Alright? I don't see my community or the Outriders community or any of these people as a number. Most of these streamers, most of these people see you as a number. You are an analytic. I don't see that. I interact with every one of you. If you ask something in chat, I try the hardest I can to answer. I mean, it's simple. I try to give to the community just because I feel like the community deserves it at this point. If I'm wrong for that, then we're definitely on the opposite side of the coin here. I get thanked so much by people. They come in and they're just like, I've been farming all day. Nothing's dropped. Or, I've been farming for 3 months. I still haven't seen the death shield. Everybody else is getting them around me. I've still never gotten one. But that moment you run in that lobby, we run them through, and they get 1 death shield or 1 inferno seed, and they're sitting in chat, and they're so fucking genuinely happy. They're so happy just to see that item finally pop. Or sometimes I've even seen 2 of the same item pop that they were looking for. And you just feel that energy, that positivity where they just feel like they finally got something. Man, I'm sorry, but there's nothing better. And that's what almost every single other streamer does, or they claim to do. They claim to do it because that feeling that you get, that rush, when you help somebody get something that they're looking for, man, there's nothing like it, man. There's nothing like helping the community. Now, I'm going to end this video here, but I just want to note, unless you understand why we do what we do, please, don't criticize us for it. Don't instantly look at the book and assume the book is what it is trash just because the cover is ripped. Don't. If you come into the stream and you see somebody doing something, be like, hey, why are you doing it this way? Open up. Have an open mind to understand. That's all we say. I love the community that I've built over on Twitch. They mean absolutely everything to me. And all of them, majority, came from the Outriders community. And that alone tells me that the Outriders community has a lot of really fucking amazing people in it. It's not all like Reddit claims it is, with all these fucking trolls and all these assholes kicking people and all the anger posts and so forth. There are a lot of those, yes. But deep down, there are a lot more good, fucking amazing people than you guys even know. So with that said, I want to give 3 shout-outs. I want to give a shout-out to Felony Gaming. This dude's amazing. He's a smaller streamer, like myself, and he does carries on Twitch as well. Really good dude. Fucking amazing dude. I also want to give a shout out to X Lawless, which you would probably see in Felony or my chat. support them as well. Uh, LFG Looted is another person who goes out and does carries and streams as well. Now keep in mind, all three of those are amazing people. But one of the main people I want to note here, and I saved them for last, is because they just started streaming a week ago. And knowing some of the background that this person has, they're genuinely an amazing person. And that's Deluke X Gaming. I will try my hardest to leave links to each one of these people in the description below for you guys to check out. But I highly suggest showing all of them love. They are parts of my community. They are amazing people. And they have done, we'll say, their huge part as smaller streamers to actually help the community. But on that note, I love all of you. I really do. I appreciate all of you that come by the streams, that show support. It's your boy Godified. I'm out.